She said she felt lighter without me. So I packed my bags and disappeared. No drama, no fight, just silence. A month later, she showed up at my door with groceries, a fake smile, and a new angle. But by then, I wasn't playing her game anymore, and she had no clue how far I'd gone to rewrite the ending. I came home early that Thursday. Not for any special reason, just beat the traffic for once. My boots left faint dust trails on the floor as I walked in. Emily was at the kitchen counter, eyes glued to her phone, thumb moving like she was on autopilot. No smile, no "hey, babe." Not even a glance, just scrolling. "Hey," I said casually, setting my keys on the hook. "How's your day going?" "Normal," she said, flat as drywall. I reached for her hand. Just a quick touch. She jerked away like I'd burned her. Didn't even look up. I stood there a second, fridge humming in the silence, the air stale like no one had opened a window in days. Something was off, but I let it slide. Figured she was just fried from work. Emily worked in PR, constant clients, endless calls, living online more than in real life. I chalked it up to burnout. Bad week, maybe. But I was wrong. That wasn't stress. That was the beginning of a new script she'd already started writing, one where I didn't have a role anymore. Over the next few days, I tried to reconnect. After 10 hours on site in the sun and dust, I'd come home and suggest dinner, a movie, even just a walk. Every idea got the same treatment. A shrug, a maybe later, or a tired eye roll like I was an annoying app notification she couldn't turn off. I kept track, not intentionally at first, just started noticing. 14 times she shut me down. 9 eye rolls. 3 times she straight up walked out while I was mid-sentence. Not once did she ask me how my day was. Not once did she put the phone down. I'm not the clingy type. I don't need a parade every time I walk in the door. But this was different. This wasn't off. This was planned. Strategic. Like she was phasing me out while making sure I still played the role of loyal background character. So I tested it. One night I asked if she wanted to grab dinner at that overpriced Italian spot she used to rave about. The one with the tiramisu she'd post online like it was gold dusted. "Not feeling it," she said without looking up. "All right," test failed. The next night I sat her down at the kitchen table. Her half-empty coffee mug still sat there from that morning, the handle chipped from when she dropped it last month. "Emily," I started, calm but clear, "if there's something going on, just say it. We can fix it. Whatever it is." She crossed her arms and leaned back. "You know what, Jake? It's actually better this way. I feel lighter." She said it like it was a compliment, like I should be proud I wasn't weighing her down anymore. "I'm really glad you're not clinging so much," she added, with a smile that looked like it belonged in a customer service manual. I didn't yell, didn't argue. I just stood there, the words sitting in the room like smoke. "Lighter, huh?" I said finally. "Yeah, it's easier." I nodded, stepped away, and started packing that night. She didn't try to stop me, didn't ask where I was going, just went back to scrolling. Like I was a houseplant she'd forgotten to water and now decided to toss. That was when I realized it wasn't a rough patch. It was a transition. Emily wasn't confused. She wasn't overwhelmed. She was done, and she just hadn't told me yet. No affair, no screaming match. Just slow, calculated erasure. And the worst part? She thought I'd stick around for it. I left without burning the place down. No revenge, no drama, just silence. At least that's what she thought. The first night in the motel was quiet. Too quiet. The hum of the AC and the buzz of a soda machine outside were the only company I had. I didn't miss Emily. What I missed was the version of her that used to exist. The one who made jokes about my tan lines after a long day. Who used to dance around the kitchen while cooking dinner. Who used to care. But that version had been gone long before I walked out. I just hadn't admitted it to myself. 2 days later, I found a one-bedroom apartment across town. It was nothing fancy, wood floors, view of the park, but it was mine. I dropped off the apartment keys with her sister Sarah, who didn't ask questions, just nodded and said, "I figured it was coming." No lecture, no pity. That's why I like Sarah. She didn't try to fix what couldn't be fixed. A week passed, no texts, no calls, just digital silence. Then came the first message. "You just left." No conversation, no warning. I read it twice, almost laughing. No warning? I'd spent weeks trying to talk to her, only to be met with walls. And now she wanted a conversation? We had one, I replied. You said you felt lighter. I listened. A few hours later, another text. You're twisting my words. I didn't mean it like that. I didn't reply. What was the point? She was spinning the story now, trying to regain control, not of me, but of the narrative. I wasn't angry. I was done. Then Sarah called. Her voice was flat, like she was reading off a script. Emily's telling people you overreacted, that you left because you couldn't handle her success. I snorted. Did she mention the 14 times she shut me down in a week? Or how she introduced me at her work party like I was the guy fixing the elevator? No, Sarah said. Didn't think she would. A few days later, Emily showed up at my door. She had a grocery bag in one hand and this forced smile like she was trying out for a commercial. I brought coffee, eggs, that hot sauce you like, she said. Thought we could have breakfast. No hard feelings. I didn't move from the doorway. Behind me, the smell of bacon filled the apartment. No hard feelings, huh? I said. You ghosted me in our own house for a month. Now you want to fry eggs and pretend it didn't happen? There's no angle, she insisted. I just thought we could talk. I leaned against the door frame, spatula still in hand. You were real clear back then. You felt lighter without me. So why are you here? She didn't answer. Just stood there, bag shifting in her arms. Was it guilt? I asked. Or did you just not like the silence once I stopped chasing you? Still nothing. I nodded. Thought so. Then I closed the door. Not a slam, just a firm click. The next morning, she posted a photo on social media, her at some upscale restaurant, smiling next to a guy in a blazer captioned, "Peace is being with someone who doesn't need to talk." I took a screenshot, saved it. Not out of jealousy, out of clarity. She wanted an audience. That was her fuel. Likes, comments, admiration. The moment I stopped clapping, she started performing louder. But the stage lights didn't work the same without someone in the front row. Mike, my closest friend, texted me a few hours later. You see that post? She's trying to mess with your head. Yeah, I replied. She can try. I'm not playing. But the more I stayed away, the harder she pushed. Not with kindness, with control. Flashback to a barbecue at her friend's house a month earlier. I was chatting about a project downtown, 20 stories, rooftop garden, tight timeline. Emily walked up, wine glass in hand, and cut me off mid-sentence. Don't bore them with construction stuff, Jake. Her tone was playful but sharp. The group laughed awkwardly. I just smiled and kept talking. Actually, Lisa asked, I'm just answering her question. Emily didn't like that. I could see it. Her face froze for half a second before she recovered. Later in the car, I asked her straight up, what was that about? You always act like I'm embarrassing you. She shrugged. It was just a joke. You're so sensitive. Your jokes always end with me looking like an idiot. Funny how that works. That was the moment I should have known. She wasn't just unhappy. She was trying to rewrite who I was in other people's eyes. If I didn't fit her new image, she'd shrink me down until I did. A week after I moved out, that image cracked again. This time at a networking event. She invited me to some fancy mixer, all suits and champagne. I almost didn't go, but curiosity won. At first it was the usual script. She introduced me as Jake, he works in construction. Her voice always dipped a little when she said it, like it was something to be forgiven. I cut in before the host could nod and move on. Actually, I manage multi-million-dollar projects, 20-story builds, full teams. Bit more than swinging a hammer. The host looked impressed. Emily, not so much. Later, she pulled me aside. You didn't have to hijack the conversation. I raised an eyebrow. Then why bring me? So I could hold your purse while you worked the room? She didn't answer. Just walked away. That's when I realized she didn't want me back. She wanted me small. And the second I stopped fitting that mold, she didn't know what to do with me. It didn't stop at the mixer. Emily wasn't trying to reconcile. She was trying to reframe the story. Each new interaction was another scene in her version of events, and I was supposed to play the part of the insecure ex who couldn't handle her independence. But I wasn't giving her the drama she needed. That's what really burned her. A few days later, we crossed paths again, this time at a coffee shop downtown. She'd asked to meet up, said she wanted to talk things through. I agreed, mostly to see what game she was playing now. We sat across from each other, two people with shared history, but zero connection. She did her usual opening act, light tone, polite questions, trying to keep control. Then she dropped it. I just don't get why you left like that, she said. One minute we were fine, the next you're gone. I almost laughed. We were fine? Emily, you spent a month treating me like I was invisible. She rolled her eyes. You're still making this bigger than it was. No, I said. You're just mad that I stopped letting you shrink me. She leaned forward. Jake, I never tried to shrink you. You rewrote me in front of your friends. You made me the punchline every time I opened my mouth. You didn't want a partner. You wanted a background character. I just decided to leave the set. Her smile faded. You always make everything so dramatic. I don't have to, I said. You've got that covered. That was the last civil conversation we had. The real blow-up came a few days later. I was halfway down the stairs of my new apartment building when I heard her voice echo down the hallway. You're a coward, Jake, running away because you couldn't handle a strong woman. I stopped, turned around slowly. She was standing by the entrance, voice raised, arms crossed like she was performing for someone. You spent a month dodging every word I said, keeping my voice steady. I finally gave you what you wanted. And now you're angry I didn't stick around to be your emotional punching bag? You didn't even try to fix it, she snapped. I took a step closer. Fix what? The dinner where you cut me off? The work party where you made me sound like your assistant? The coffee shop with Karen where you joked about me being in the dirt? Her expression cracked for just a second. You got your space, I said. Now you're mad that I'm not begging to come back. That's not love, Emily. That's control. She tried to spin it. You're twisting things again. You're insecure. You can't handle that I have a voice. I shook my head. No, I can't handle being erased. Then came the threat. I'll tell everyone you left because you're weak, that you couldn't handle me being successful. I smiled, not out of spite, but finality. Go ahead, tell them. But be sure to include the part where you said you felt lighter without me. The part where you kept putting me down in front of your friends. The part where you came to my door with groceries like that would fix it. Tell the whole story, Emily. She stood there frozen. No response. Just anger with nowhere to land. I turned and walked away. She didn't follow. I didn't look back. Later that week, she posted another photo. Some trendy rooftop bar, another guy in a blazer. Caption, surround yourself with people who don't make you explain your worth. This time I didn't even screenshot it. Mike texted me again. She's still posting, still fishing. Let her, I replied. I'm not on the hook anymore. The more I ignored her, the louder she got. Mutual friends started reaching out, saying Emily was painting me as unstable, controlling, jealous. But something interesting started happening. Those same people stopped taking her side. They remembered the parties, the passive jabs, the way she'd twist every conversation to make herself look better. The narrative was slipping out of her hands. Then, out of nowhere, she invited me to a house party. One of her clients, a wealthy couple in the suburbs. She said it could be a reset, a way to start fresh. I said yes, not to fix things. I just wanted to see how far she'd go. The party was classic Emily. Catered food, curated playlist, perfect lighting. She introduced me to the host with her usual line, "This is Jake. He works in construction." I cut in. Actually, I run high-rise commercial builds. The current one's a 20-story office tower. Been managing the whole thing. Budget, crew, design, safety. It's a beast. The host lit up. That's serious work. It is, I said, glancing at Emily. But I like seeing things built from the ground up. Makes you appreciate the foundation. She tried to change the subject, but it was too late. Another guest asked me about the project. I answered with ease. They were genuinely interested. Emily was losing the room, and she knew it. Later, she cornered me by the bar. Why did you hijack the conversation? I looked at her. Why did you bring me here? So I could stand behind you like a +1 who doesn't speak? She said nothing, just looked away. That night, I didn't walk her to the car. I didn't text when I got home. I'd seen enough. After the client party, Emily stopped pretending. No more polite texts, no more fake invitations. She'd lost control of the script, and she knew it. I went silent. No messages, no reactions to her posts, no shows at mutual events. And that silence, that's what really got her. Not anger, not insults, just absence. A few mutual friends told me she was confused, said I was acting cold and unreachable, that I should at least explain myself. I didn't bother. Anyone who needed it explained hadn't been paying attention. Sarah, her sister, was the only one who understood. She called one night, not to gossip, not to pick sides, just to say, "She's unraveling. You did the right thing." I thanked her, then changed the subject. The thing about people like Emily is that they thrive on attention, positive or negative. They can take being hated, but they can't handle being irrelevant. I moved on. Work picked up. I poured everything into the downtown build. Long days, tighter deadlines. I'd come home exhausted, but content. My new place was quiet. No games, no cold shoulders, no walking on eggshells. Then came the message from Mike. Just saw Emily at that new bar on 6th. She was with a guy, all over him, but kept glancing at the door, like she was waiting for someone to catch her. I just replied, "Let her." She wasn't over me. She was over losing her audience. Her posts became more desperate. Curated photos, overdone captions about healing and growth. But behind every smile, I could see the same thing: performance. Meanwhile, I was getting back to myself. The version of me that didn't have to shrink to fit someone else's spotlight. I started hiking again, reconnected with a few friends I'd pulled away from during the marriage. Even went on a few dates. Nothing serious, but enough to remind me what healthy attention felt like. Emily, though, didn't fade quietly. One Saturday, I ran into her by accident at a farmer's market. She was alone, sunglasses on, shopping bag in hand. I nodded a polite hello, kept walking. She turned, followed me a few steps. "That's it? No words? Nothing to say?" I stopped, looked at her calmly. "We've said enough." She hesitated. "I just thought maybe we could be civil." "We are?" "Oh," I said. "This is what civil looks like now." She didn't know what to do with that. I wasn't bitter. I wasn't angry. I just didn't care anymore. And that was worse than anything I could have said. The next week, a friend sent me a screenshot of one of her latest posts. A long caption about letting go of toxic energy and outgrowing people who can't handle your light. I didn't even finish reading it. She hadn't changed. She just changed her phrasing. Still rewriting the past, still trying to cast herself as the misunderstood lead. But people weren't buying it anymore. One of her old friends, someone who used to nod along with everything she said, messaged me out of the blue. I didn't realize how bad it had gotten. She made it sound like you just vanished. But now, it's clear she was pushing you out all along. I thanked her, told her I wasn't interested in rehashing it, because I wasn't. There's a difference between moving on and dragging the past with you. I was finally free of the noise, the constant manipulation, the pressure to prove my worth in someone else's story. Emily wasn't the villain. She wasn't evil, but she was never going to love anyone she couldn't control. And I wasn't going to be that person anymore. The real consequence wasn't her losing me. It was me realizing I never really had her. Not the way a partner should. I had been a role, a prop, and once I stopped playing along, she didn't know how to rewrite the story. She tried to replace me, tried to upgrade me, tried to erase me. None of it worked, because you can't replace someone you never bothered to understand. You can't erase someone who's already walked away. A month passed without a single word from Emily. No texts, no calls, no uninvited appearances. The silence wasn't awkward. It was clean. For the first time in a long time, I had peace, and I wasn't checking my phone every 10 minutes to see if someone was trying to get inside my head. Mike came over one night with takeout and a six-pack. We sat on the balcony talking about work, sports, the usual. At one point he asked, "Do you ever think she regrets it?" I didn't even have to think. "She doesn't regret losing me. She regrets losing control over the story." He nodded. "Yeah, I figured." That's the thing about people like Emily. They don't want you back. They want the version of you that stays quiet while they take center stage. And once you stop playing that role, they don't know what to do. But I wasn't bitter. I wasn't even angry anymore. I was just done. Life didn't become magical the second I walked out. There were still rough mornings, still days when I had to shake off the habit of looking for her in empty rooms. But every day got easier, simpler. I got a promotion at work, project director on a new site near the river. Bigger team, higher stakes, more trust. The kind of role I used to dream about. The kind of role I probably wouldn't have taken if I'd stayed in that marriage, where I was always second-guessing my own worth. Funny how walking away from the wrong person makes space for everything else. I saw her once more. It was 3 months after everything ended. I was grabbing coffee before work, and she walked in. She saw me, hesitated, then walked over. She asked how I'd been. I told her the truth. Work was great. Life was simple. I was doing fine. She smiled, nodded like she was happy for me, but there was this flicker of something in her eyes. Not regret, not sadness, just realization. She asked if I ever missed us. I paused. I miss who I thought we were, but I don't miss what it became. She nodded slowly. Fair. I wished her well, paid for my coffee, and left. That was the final page. No drama, no scene, just closure. Sometimes people think revenge means destruction, yelling, calling them out, tearing down what they built. But real revenge, it's choosing not to participate anymore. It's living better than you were expected to. It's healing so well that even the person who broke you can't recognize who you've become. Emily thought she'd moved on, thought she'd kept the spotlight. But a spotlight's useless when the audience walks away. I didn't destroy her. I didn't fight her. I just stopped showing up for the show. And without someone to manipulate, without someone to rewrite, she was left with what she'd created. An empty stage and a story that no one wanted to hear anymore. My story? It didn't need embellishment. I was the guy who showed up, who tried, who held his ground. And when it wasn't enough, I didn't beg, I left. And that was more than enough.